Hello.
Hello.
Jeremy.
Howdy, howdy.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello, hello.
Hi.
Jeremy, do you want to go ahead and kick us off?
Sure. Yeah, so this is our third solo meeting for the Hiero community, McCall. Um, and yeah, we just we've got no specific agenda today yet. But I've got a few things I could probably talk about. We do have to stop at 30 minutes past the hour today. We have a conflict, Nathan and I do. Yeah, so I guess let's start off. Most of us here are well, does anybody have any topics? Want to make
I've got a
sure.
few. I brought up in the Slack channel this morning um, just node support for current versions of LTS and additional support for like the active development node, so node 24, node 22. Just wondering what the timeline is for getting that into solo as well, so we can have consistent usage of node across organization. And then I'd really like to learn more about the state of the solo quick start with the new release
Of the what?
of solo quick start with release 42.
Oh, okay.
Sure,
Yeah.
I'll speak to the node versions. So Roger, I already answered you in the channel as well. We support 22 and 23. 24 is may work. We haven't vetted it yet.
Gotcha. Okay.
I probably I can make it a note to because I think like we could probably do is make certain tests run with certain versions just so that we have a bit more coverage. I think we could probably do that pretty easily. Let me add that as a to-do item, is to investigate the possibility of that because that way we could probably just kind of make sure that each major version has some kind of compatibility. As most of our test harness right now, we set it to the lowest version and just assume it'll work with the newer versions. And then a few of us have different versions installed locally, so we kind of are testing that indirectly. So, and then I think other end users are using different versions as well. So,
Yeah, I've
yeah.
been trying to keep to what's on the docs. So docs says use 20.18.3 for everything past version 38 of solo. Um,
The
think-
doc.
and I haven't,
What?
yeah, and I haven't seen anything pointing to support for 22 or 23.
Are you talking
Um,
about the greater than or equals version number in the version
Yeah,
table?
yeah,
It's greater,
and
greater than or equal to. That's the minimum supported version there
okay,
in the getting started guide.
yeah,
Yeah, that's the minimum. That just says that
okay,
because I think there's certain functionality in there. Previously, we were using um, JavaScript ECMAScript 6, and so we needed a version that was compatible with that. Now that we've switched over to TypeScript, I think we still set the TypeScript compiler to work with certain versions though. So I think that's where the min's set to for that reason. And I guess it probably doesn't matter anyway because the LTS has moved past a lot of those old versions anyway. But yeah, anyway. But yeah,
yeah.
I'm gonna
Well,
make a note for just to kind of compatibility test by running our test harness against different versions. So
Right. And again, those in the table, if they have a greater than or equal to, or other, less than or equal to ranges, they are supported based on those range descriptors. That's what we actually use in the um, in 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 the J package JSON as well, where possible. We use various ranges, but I believe the
okay,
range. I mean, I don't think package.json by default will let you run anything older than 20.18 because that's the minimum version we have set in there. But yes,
awesome.
newer.
Yeah, I've been using the minimum version in like my CI/CD workflows, where I've been using Solo, um, just to be as consistent with what's in the docs as possible. But I will go play with some other ones, and I'll do a
Yeah,
better job of reading. Ah,
and again, the minimum version is there, like Jeremy said, because we have certain minimum requirements we must hit for various. Because even with TypeScript, we compile down to ultimately ECMAScript under the hood. Um, and so we need to hit that minimum ECMAScript and other feature set support. So is the kind library, and part of this comes from some of our other library dependencies as well, like the Kubernetes library, client library we use, I believe, also dictates a minimum version that we have to also accommodate.
okay. So I just because you wanted a demo, we can run this while we talk. So I just checked the version. I'm on 42. I deleted and created a new cluster. I probably should just I the 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 solo directory, I usually clean it just to make sure, especially if I'm going to do a demo. Quick starts, I've got logic built into quick start that prevents you from having to delete the home directory, because what I do is I uniquely generate a cluster and or cluster ref, and I uniquely generate the deployment as well as the namespace every single time, and so it prevents you from triggering collisions. And so I did that on purpose because we were always having issues, and that would allow people to, not have those issues. So, but anyway, so let me run. I'll just grab the date to stamps too, because we don't spit them out, so you can see like how long it runs for. Okay, well, while that's running, any other topics? So, in this release we just did, there was a lot of bug fixes for the add update, the solo node add, solo node update, solo node delete, especially when it comes to running those commands individually with so that like the SDK teams have to do, where they insert the SDK node create transaction, node update transaction, node delete transaction. So through that process, we found some bugs, fixed them. So version 42 is a lot more stable. And then we added the quick start destroy command, because that one was a TBD previously on 41 and prior. And then also what we did was we enhanced the output on this guy so that it will generate some keys similar to what local node did for those that to make it a little bit smoother transition from local node to solo, which was a good idea. And those are probably the big hitters. I did paste the release notes a couple different places, but let's see. I don't think if I can pull that up. So let's see, releases. And yeah, I think I have to share this. I'm not used to doing this. Love it. Let's see. Let's see, share. Brave browser. Okay. Can you see my browser here?
Command line.
No, just your terminal.
How about now?
It's good.
Yeah.
Okay. But can you still see my terminal or did that go away?
No.
Oh well, I'll change it back in a moment. So yeah, there was add flag to private key. I think that was that account get or create? I think it was account create. New should yeah, it's during account create. So we added the ability so that during account create, you could also get the private key and not have to run an extra command of account get. Probably. So, and then let's see, create accounts, predefined. We updated the Helm dependency manager to also reference a global installation and not have to download the binary. And then we updated some comments regarding the ECDSA keys in both the help output as well as the documentation. And then yeah, some bug fixes. Blacknode is more internal right now just because it's not in a production ready state. But yeah, we're continuing to work with integrate Solo with Blocknode and consensus node. And then we did a lot of upgrades. So we were behind in 40 on the consensus node. So we caught up to mainnet with 63.9 at that time. And then we updated a lot of the others all to be the latest versions. And let's see. There's some doc fixes here and there. There was a bug where I think it was node add where you had to pass in an admin key, but it was supposed to be optional, but it broke unless if you didn't pass it in. So that was fixed. Yeah, it's probably a good thing. All right, let me switch back to my other screen. Where'd it go? Here, share. There we go. Okay. Oh, it's still hasn't fully exited. It's closing down all the processes. But yeah, so essentially it ran successfully. It does take a bit to get through all of the mirror node stuff. A little bit of a lag there on that particular part, but it's a bit of a we wait until it's actually functioning before we mark it as good. And then as you see here, we're now generating some accounts. Our sysout, we're giving you the directories, we give you our chart repos, we give you which charts we installed. And we also give you and tell you, okay, here's the cluster, the deployment, the namespace. And then we give you this quick command if you don't want to run the destroy command. It's a little bit faster. But it does leave orphans inside of your local config, but since we dynamically generate them, it's not really that much of a problem. And then here's the other versions used because some of these aren't, I mean, these are Helm charts, whereas these aren't always necessarily Helm charts. I mean, these are Helm charts for this and this and this, but these are unrelated. So, especially that guy. And then these are some port forwards that we now, or I guess that was in the previous release also. And then here's the accounts. So these use the ECDSA private keys, whereas, and these right here are also aliased, whereas these are not. And then this one uses the ED25519 key, private keys, so that the user has some, if they're using it for some various types of testing and things like that where they need these, they're already there for them. One thing we just got a request for was to maybe have a command where this stuff can be displayed again, because if your screen is cleared, how do you get it back? And so a lot of this information is either in the ledger or in our Kubernetes secrets, but those are require a lot more knowledge about how stuff works. And so that was a very good enhancement request that we will definitely look to implement. Yeah, and then you can see here that was 516 on my machine, and that was 510. So it took a little underneath 6 minutes, which is about what it's been running in my machine. And let's see, I think I'm using, so I deleted the cluster, so it was re-downloading container images, but it was pulling, I don't know if I have I don't know. Yeah, I didn't use much. So I think it was pulling it straight from the various repos. I wasn't using our cached version. So yeah, but I have a pretty good internet connection, so not everybody has the same speed. So questions, comments? So as far as exciting news going, there was some conversations about a use case and benefit for having solo running inside of and standing up a cluster inside of a Docker container. There was a lot of conversation about that. And so we wrote up a GitHub issue and marked it as a good beginner, first time contributor type of thing. And we had a contributor pick that up. So that's being worked. Initial draft of the PR was submitted. So that's being worked on still. But that's pretty exciting to be able to, because most of the time, I mean, we have Docker or Podman as already a requirement, but now you also have to have kind potentially or some other cluster. You could also use Docker. Docker has a Kubernetes setting in it. You could, and then you have to have kube control, and then you have to have Helm. And we kind of embed some of that, like we embed the Helm. That's been there for a while. We're working on we've got it to where the PR for the kube control is about ready to be merged, as well as the checks for kind. But we don't have the auto install of those yet. That work is still got to be designed out, like what's the rules for that. But with the Docker, all that would be inside the Docker image, so the end user's machine itself doesn't have to have that stuff. So that could be useful. It could also be potentially useful in a little bit simpler for running within a pipeline potentially, because then you don't have to do all those extra setup steps. There might be a performance hit. I don't know. I'm sure it probably is, but I think it's for a simplicity perspective, it's kind of nice. And then there was a request for putting it at homebrew, which we're looking into. And how that might work. And let's see, there was something else that I thought was pretty exciting. So yeah, a lot of exciting stuff for solo. We're progressing pretty quickly. I mean, we're getting good feedback. One of our higher ups was playing around with this yesterday, ran the quick start, was pretty excited about it, and highly recommending others go out and check it out because it's not like it used to be, several months or a year ago. It's drastically different. Oh, the other thing I was going to tell you was that Nathan and I have been redesigning the command structure to be simpler and more straightforward and follow pattern. And so the new command structure will probably be, I would say is highly likely will be in the next release because that PR is pretty polished. I just need to review it and merge it. I was waiting until I cut this 42. And so once that merges, then pretty much all the commands and scripts will break except for if you were using solo quick start and block node, because both of those use the new 3-tier command structure with the new command subcommands. But all the other commands are kind of more essentially relabeled with slightly different naming conventions. And so that'll come down in the next release, version 43, most likely, unless something happens. We have to cut a release sooner. So yeah, any comments, feedback, other topics before we have to drop in 7 minutes? Let's see. So let's see my participants and chats. So is this your first time joining Vignesh? I can't remember if I saw you on previously. Do you have anything you want to add, or because I know everybody else kind of on the call? So we also have Jason here too. I didn't.
Hey, yes, Jeremy. This is my first time being here. I'm just exploring how everything works in Hedera. So just trying to understand how does all of these stuffs works.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I can talk that for a minute. Basically, like we have the consensus node is what we call the piece that runs the main blockchain. And so it's the underlying logic for the gossip algorithms and the communication between the nodes, as well as the layer, what we call the services or execution layer that has the ledger in it. And then you have the EVM equivalent compatible, the virtual machine that runs on the blockchain. And so that's all kind of bundled together as the consensus node. And then you have this mirror node concept, which acts as kind of like a read-only database. And it has various types of components like REST APIs and gRPC APIs and things like that for various systems to hit, so that it takes the load off of the consensus node. Then you have the Explorer, which is kind of like ETH scan, or in our case, hash scan, which is the API backend as well as the web UI front end for viewing transactions and accounts and things like that. And then you have the relay, so the JSON RPC relay for cross compatibility tools like MetaMask and things like that. They're used to having that JSON RPC relay structure that integrates. And Solo essentially is a tool that has using Kubernetes and Helm we've managed to build a infrastructure that wires all this together and allows you to simulate or basically have a real network running inside of a single Kubernetes cluster, potentially on your own machine or inside the cloud, or even across clouds. And so it has that capability, and essentially it's a fully functional network. Now, by default, it's more set up for a developer type situation where it uses Genesis keys and things like that. And that Genesis key is a well-known key, but it can be configured to be like a production running tool, but that requires a little bit more knowledge to go in there and try to make it like a production type thing. That's a very quick explanation of the things.
All right. Thank you so much for it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Maybe that helped. You just said you were learning, so
Yeah, it does. Thanks much.
good. And then I see Jason. I don't know if I've ever met you before either, so I don't know if you want to say hi or not. Or
Just to stay informed. I'll probably have questions next time around. We're starting to use Solo in our project quite a bit in the future, so it's an important feature for us. Thank you.
oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. And then we also have a Discord channel. So between that or these meetings, I also opened up the discussion tab in Solo's repo. So you have a few different ways of reaching out to us if you have questions.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right. Well, it sounds like this is a great time to stop. So y'all have a great day, and I'll see you next time maybe. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.